I actually never played web fishing, but I just heard it was like Animal Crossing, but for poor people because it was like free, right?
A little over a year ago, Webfishing released to mass acclaim from the general public, with thousands of players and an overwhelmingly positive review on Steam. Today it's been completely abandoned. This game released at a time where social games were at an all-time low, and it almost single-handedly revived the genre of the chat.
I feel bad for the dev. I've heard things about it, but I'm hoping this video actually explains it.
Chat room game. Since its release, numerous games have been made over the course of 2025 that have attempted to replicate the massive success Webfishing saw on release. It was also my personal favorite game to come out in 2024. I even made this video back in November of last year about how good the game was, a video that a few people watched. In that video, I talked about how monumental Webfishing's potential was. I knew that with future updates, and just a few small improvements, Webfishing could be a game that really stood the test of time. And in many ways, the writing was on the wall that it would succeed at this. You know, like, streamers were playing it.
You have no name. You don't exist.
The community was doing...
Oh, I recognize her.
What the community does. And
Shenpai, that's it. Shenpai, yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, I have not spoke to her in like well over half a decade, but no, she was really nice.
the player count was very high for a game that released with basically no promotion. It seemed like Webfishing was going to be around for a long...
See, the problem is I see games like this, and I personally wouldn't play it. If you do, fair enough. But all I see is Roblox, and a streamer is playing Roblox, and then Rupert Gaming Boy appears, and he starts shouting slurs down the microphone. I'm guessing there is no voice chat in web fishing, so that probably wouldn't happen there.
long time. However, that wasn't exactly how things went.
What do you mean friend slop? It's not a co-op game.
Instead, the creator released a handful of small updates,
Isn't it just like you join a server?
a plushie, and then dropped off the face of the planet, never to be seen again. From the outside looking in, this looked like
Thank you, Kira, for the $31. Damn, that's insane. Thank you. When you fear and hunger or something, love you, Pyro. Yeah, thank you so much for the 31. I really appreciate that.
the dev just took the money and ran, leaving a community of people to
Did he say Rand? Hang on a minute. Let me
wonder what.
grab and check him.
Outside looking in, this looked
Hi,
like the
Pyro.
dev took the money and ran, leaving a
Yeah, he said Rand. It's over.
community of people to
Iron Rand. Atlas shrugged.
wonder what happened. But if you were actively following the game, then you know the true story. In November of 2024, the developer of Webfishing was doxxed by a certain online message board, a dox that was largely due to the developer and many players of Webfishing being part of the LGBTQ community. This dox obviously threatened the safety of the developer
I mean, yeah, being part of LGBT, like you're all playing as like anthropomorphic characters, so that's not surprising.
and forced them to close up shop. This was a tragic blow to the game's future. The bad news spread through the Webfishing community, who all expected more to be done with the game through coming updates and events. However, after months of silence, it's become clear that the Webfishing creator being doxxed has caused the game to become completely abandoned.
Is there no way that someone could like recreate the game? Almost, you know how like game servers get shut down or like games get deleted, and then you'll have like a team of people that are dedicated. I mean, I'm not, I don't know anything about game design, but
At this point,
it's like I was. Someone mentioned earlier about that Time Splitters Rewind that just came out, which is basically just building the game from the ground up.
it's unlikely Webfishing will ever get another update. So where does that leave the game today? What is it like to play Webfishing in a completely decadent state, never to be touched again? What has Webfishing become?
So wait. You can still play the game, but it's just all offline, I'm guessing, right? I'm assuming that's the case. So you can't... You can get into the game, but it is just like single player now. So it just feels like one of those like horror games. It's still online? Oh, okay.
After being doxxed into obscurity.
Oh, I see. It's the dev that disappeared, right? You host your own servers. Still online, just no more updates. Ah, I see. Yeah, I mean, I could appreciate games like this. It's not something I'd play, though. Like, it really isn't. you know, I played Animal Crossing. I just remember going around hitting everyone with a spade and they got angry with me.
Webfishing was originally developed by one guy over the course of 5 months, known simply as West. Like with our last episode's game, Peak, Webfishing was originally made for a game jam, and then later polished into what we know today, and released on Steam. That's really all there is to it. It's unfortunate, but much of the development of this game is completely shrouded in mystery, aside from us being able to access a beta version of the game made for that initial game jam. It sucks, but it makes sense. This guy got doxxed off the face of the planet, so I'm sure he wasn't eager to post all of his devlogs and concept art after that. And also, to be clear, I'm going to be reviewing this game as it stands today, but I don't want my matter-of-fact, objective critic shtick to get in the way of the fact that this guy was doxxed, and that's absolutely horrible. No one should have to be doxxed for releasing a game on Steam, and it's an utter tragedy that we lost what could have been an excellent game because of what happened. I'm going to say some very harsh things about Webfishing during this review, but I don't want that to be interpreted as a slight against the developer or any of the people who play the game. I just want to talk about what Webfishing is and what it could have been.
Well, it just seems like Animal Crossing, but it's more of a social game. Because in Animal Crossing, you could just invite one person into your town, right? Maybe in the more recent games, they upped it to like 4 or 8 or something.
Because I think it acts as a very good cautionary tale of what can happen when a game...
It's kind of funny, though, how they made Webfishing, because it was like... What is this in chat here? I'm going to do a live stream, an Ultra Kill MLG video soon. Well, you did mention Ultra Kill, so probably trans. Fair enough. But I lost my train of thought. Wait, what was I saying? Yeah, no, they based an entire game off the most interesting gameplay aspect of Animal Crossing. Because that was like, you know, everything else took time, right? Everyone went fishing in that game because it was the only thing you could do all day. You know, it's like you could hit trees for like money or shake them or whatever. And then you'd run out of trees. But fishing, you could just do it like forever.
Game gets too big too quickly, and it shows how the actions of a few bad actors can ruin the fun for everyone. Right off the bat, the second you open the game, there's a major problem. Now that might sound a bit harsh, but just hear me out.
I like how he has straight in quotation marks. But you're playing web fishing.
You see, this game launched with a major vulnerability somewhere in its online netcode that allows hackers to scrape your IP, kick you from your game, and much more. Now I know this sounds like a setup to a paid VPN ad, but believe it or not, this is an actual problem that lies within the game. The rampant existence of hackers, bots, and IP scrapers is part of the reason why this game has such a bad reputation in certain places. Having an online game where your place of living can be leaked to the world just for playing it is not going to keep a strong player base for long, simply because people care about their privacy. And unfortunately, because this game has been left completely dormant, none of these issues are going to be fixed by the developer. The solution the player base has come up with is to just make code-only or private lobbies, so that bad actors and script kiddies can't join and steal all of their data.
I mean, that's pretty disappointing as well, because it's like, it was a social game, right? And then, because you can only do it with your mates, it just turns into like, you know, repo or something.
Or, you know, just to use a VPN. But the impetus shouldn't be on the player to fix these issues.
Did you know you can play as a fat panda in World of Warcraft? I'm not touching that game. I'm sorry. I'm not touching that game. That's just a gacha game. Hidden under many layers.
It's because of that I can never recommend this game in good conscience to other people, because it just isn't a safe game to play unless you're planning on turning your PC into a digital doomsday bunker.
Don't jump scare.
Some people have stated that the game no longer has any issues with hackers, and that security vulnerabilities have been completely patched out. But, the developer has never stated this to be the case in any patch note or announcement, and reports still persist on the game's Steam discussion page, so it's probably still broken. Also, just like, look at it, dude. Like, being for real.
Was that a fish that he caught?
Also, just like, look at it, dude.
That's funny. I don't even think that ruins the experience. I think that's just funny. Just like fish that's just clipping into everything.
Being for real, okay? No script, being for real. If you can do this in this game with a regular program that you can download off the internet, there's probably a lot worse that could be done with just a few more Google searches. so I don't trust that this game is secure in any capacity. This is the most important reason for why I believe the game has dropped off in popularity so much. Despite how good the game is, and trust me, this game is very good, there's all this nonsense surrounding it that makes it impossible.
I mean, what can you even do in the game? You fish, obviously, and then you do, like, paintings on the floor, like Animal Crossing. Is there, like... What do you do with the fish? Do you build, like, a collection? Do you sell them for money? Anything like that? Gambling?
To recommend to other people. This game is like a really good coffee shop that makes the best latte you've ever had.
Socialize. You can mod it to add more things to collect and sell.
But in order to get there, you have to walk through the Bronx covered in gold jewelry, butt naked at 3 in the morning. You can't even talk about these issues on the Webfishing subreddit anymore because of the sheer amount of complaints people submitted around the game's release. It's just so frustrating because, you know, there's a lot to love about webfishing, but most people have to treat it with kid gloves just to enjoy any of that. Know that all of the praise I give this game's design from here on out is under the pretense that you can actually play it safely, and it's completely unacceptable the game has been left in this state. Now, with all that to the side, let's get to the real game. The second you enter a lobby, you're greeted with a brief tutorial that teaches you the basic gameplay loop. You throw out your line, wait for a bite, and then hold the mouse button to reel until you get your fish. As you reel, there will be these barriers that you have to mash a certain amount of times in order to break through. This system was designed very well to accommodate the social aspects of webfishing, but it can also be very versatile when it comes to customization and upgrades. As you play the game and
Someone in chat said web fishing e-daters.
sell more fish, you'll gradually upgrade your fishing rod and be able to catch bigger and rarer fish. It
Real people, by the way.
works like one of those Roblox tycoon games, if you grew up playing those, where you join a server and gradually make your fishing ability more effective and profitable. It's a very satisfying loop, which keeps the player's attention just enough to be engaging, but not so much that it's overwhelming.
Yeah, chat actually woke up. Wake up! Say something! Jesus Christ, man, I get it. You're like drone phase on Siege, then you got TikTok on your phone right now. Wake up!
And takes away from hanging out with friends and talking. The fishing in web fishing is essentially an idle game, like Cookie Clicker. I've seen some criticize
I haven't slept for 2 days. Cry about it. Do some meth.
the system for being boring or too simplistic, but I think that's kind of ridiculous. Not every game has to have this insane amount of mechanical depth in order
That is the worst controller ever made.
to be good. If there was a Sega Bass
What was it, GameCube? It's terrible.
Pro fishing level of depth in this game, it would take away from the cozy atmosphere by forcing the player to think too much while playing. And if you're thinking so much about fishing, then you're not going to want to be thinking about talking to your friends. Because the last thing I need when I'm trying to do...
No. Don't say you're studying and like, or you're gaming on your Steam Deck. Don't say that, guys. I want to be like XQC, where you're all just spamming one Hollis over and over, and then like Pepe. Come on, man. We got to build a community here. Jesus Christ.
a very difficult, high-effort task is one of my buddies yelling in my ear about how good his date went last night. There's actually a really good example of what happens when you try to combine a low-key fishing game with an insane amount of mechanical complexity.
Shit class.
It's called Big the Cat. You want to know why people hate this stupid cat in Sonic Adventure so much? It's because the game decided to make its fishing the most gimmicky, complicated nonsense ever invented by man. I have played through this game like a dozen times, and I still don't know how any of it works.
I think the only Sonic game I've ever played in my life was Shadow the Hedgehog as a kid. It was like the most darkly, try-hard, edgy game imaginable. Wait a minute. I just had a core memory unlock. You know what's great about the Shadow the Hedgehog? Hang on. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. He's got an SMG, and he pumps it like it's a shotgun. He pumps it. He doesn't cock it. He pumps it. Wow. The edge.
If Webfishing had this fishing system, they would have sold like 30 copies and have an overwhelmingly negative score on Steam. You would have had to pay me to buy that shit. Now granted, it is possible to balance a complex system with a cozy vibe and atmosphere, but it's very difficult and can easily fall apart if you don't know
Hello, thank you for the 10.
what you're doing. So with that said,
Oh, thank you, Crunchy Cat, for the 9 months. Appreciate it.
I think Webfishing's fishing does a great job at accommodating its focus on making friends and interacting with others in a social space. And speaking of that social space, let's take a look at this server I just joined. I'm sure that there's a bunch of great people for me to get to know and,
Right. Why is that censored? Wait a minute. F-A...
Hi everyone, I've just joined the stream. Why is the fat inflation man so angry right now? Is he sleep deprived or something?
I'm trying to build a community here, but everyone's studying. They're trying to get jobs. Disgusting. Also, thank you for that dono, by the way. You cut me off from, like, saying the rest of that.
oh no. Yeah, so another reason
Okay, I'm not even going to say that one.
why the lack of updates has absolutely crippled this game is the incredibly limited moderation tools. If the host
Wait,
reason why the lack
we have to go back.
of updates has absolutely crippled this game is the incredible
Whites only. Web phishing while writing breakup text.
limited
Actually unlucky though, like only had like one person join.
moderation tools. If the host is AFK from their server, there's no way to kick anyone from the lobby. It's a power that only the host has. There's no vote kick system or anything. There are a handful of client-side
Actual COD lobbies? No, literally. I was thinking the same thing, like custom COD lobbies.
solutions that have been implemented, you know, things that
That's the host? Yeah. I don't know why, I just thought the game no players online for some reason when I saw that.
only apply to the individual, such as disabling the chalk drawings or muting specific people, but they're more or less band-aid solutions. Ideally, a game like this should be given tools that allow the players to mod and govern themselves, but Webfishing doesn't have that, and never will. So right now, many public servers are unmoderated hellscapes with slurs, porn, and whatever else all over the place.
I wasn't looking at the muscly Among Us, that's not why I paused. It said TikTok.
The majority of the servers you'll encounter are perfectly fine, but it makes the server list feel like a minefield, where you have no idea what you'll see the second you spawn in. On some level, this is actually really cool. Part of the reason why I initially enjoyed web fishing is that I missed an era of the internet where
I need to process that image after stream. I think something's just a work in me.
corporations weren't over-moderating every online space they had control over. A place where you could just, like, talk to people and not be worried about being spied on by a higher power. But this is, like, way too far in the other direction. And between the hackers, network vulnerabilities, and rampant debauchery in a lot of these servers, it really makes web fishing a wild west of sorts to
Oh, I thought that was Rick Sanchez at the bottom.
experience today. Now, you may enjoy that, but I don't think most people do. For better or for worse, you never know.
Thank you. Please play You Are Empty for the 3 months. You Are Empty. Why have I heard of that before? Why have I heard of that before? Ah, this
Hope you're
game.
doing well. I also hope chat is being well behaved. I like Big the cat. He sounds more chill in the Japanese ver of Sonic Adventure. Also, I wish I had a nickel for every time people misconstrued weight gain and inflation.
Okay. Let that dono cook, by the way. I would sit down and have a 40-minute discussion about this. There is a huge difference between fat and inflation, okay? Like, some of you in here, you might be into feet, okay? And then I'll say, like, oh, so you like elbows, right? It makes no sense. No sense at all. You know that meme of, like, the political discussion? It's like 40 people sat around, like, a huge table having a big discussion. It's exactly like that. This game is, like, really good, though. Well, it's not. It's jank. It's terrible. But I actually wanted to play this at some point. I'm gonna... Mods, can we make it a note about me streaming this game at some point? I'm not doing a main channel video on it. I could do, actually. It looks cool aesthetically, but it is terrible. It's absolutely horrendous. I've never played it, but I really, really want to. Yeah, that's a good recommendation.
what kind of people you'll run into while playing. Oh, here's something you may not know.
It's Eurojank? Yeah, exactly.
There's actually a really subtle influence that web fishing has baked into its aesthetic. It's really obscure,
Just rent a stage and do a TED talk on inflation versus fat.
so you might not recognize it.
Could you imagine that? Like, that would be actually the saddest TED talk. God damn.
But web fishing actually takes a lot of its look.
Mods, could you... Okay, because, idiot, I'm getting really good suggestions this stream for once, and I'm gonna forget all of this. As soon as the stream ends, I'll be like, wait a minute. Stream? Oh, I order pizza now, and I've rewatched Pluribus for the 30th time.
And vibe from the 2001 Japanese N64 game Dobutsu no Mori, which is called Animal Crossing in the West. Yeah, so web fishing's aesthetic is largely based off Nintendo's Animal Crossing series, specifically the first game on the N64 and its port on the GameCube.
Again, it's different games for different people. I'm gonna get so much flack for this. I don't understand how people can enjoy Animal Crossing. I really don't. But I think it's a me problem, because it's like I hate casual gaming. I feel like I need to get something out of a game. You know, it's like I don't want to spend 300 hours to find like a bone fossil to put in the museum. Like I remember playing it as a kid on the Nintendo DS, and I just got so bored, so I played Samus instead, because I remember I'd just be like, the clothing you want isn't here, gotta wait until tomorrow. And then you just like move the clock and stuff like that, and then you shake every tree, and then you dig everywhere to try and get like a fossil or one of those little totem things. And then you just spend the rest of the day fishing. Because it's like with the villagers, if you talk to them too much, they get like pissed off at you. I get it. It's meant to be a game that you play for a couple hours a day and then you leave it. It's not something you're meant to sweat constantly.
This was a major boon in the game's
But yeah, it's just not a game for me.
marketing and helped make the game more appropriate.
Okay, someone said Minecraft for women. You actually made me do the I show speed face like unintentionally.
For the average person. I really like
That was... Oh, wow. Hey, you should be a comedian.
this because, believe it or not,
All four of your female watchers will be annoyed after that Animal Crossing comment.
Oh no, I can imagine, believe me.
Crossing is my
Thank you for the 10.
second favorite Nintendo franchise behind Splatoon, and it's a game that I'll probably cover at some point on this channel. Frankly, I think Animal Crossing goes massively underappreciated in the grand scheme of things. These games are insane technical undertakings that manage to have a huge amount of depth, while still maintaining an accessible and approachable
New Leaf script has around 1.1 million words.
atmosphere. They've also had an insane influence on a bunch of gaming's biggest hits, and web fishing is one of the biggest examples of that from recent times. The game goes out of its way to look lo-fi and outdated, even placing this pixelation filter on everything when you start the game initially to make it look like something from the GameCube or N64 era. I always disable this though because it makes the game harder to look at for me, and also makes my footage look crunchy and, less professional. Not to mention, I think that the art direction of web fishing does.
I love Animal Crossing, but I understand why people don't like it. Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't like it. You can't like it either. But yeah.
A good job capturing this aesthetic without this weird pixelation filter muddling what you can and can't see.
It's like me saying, why don't you enjoy Cry of Fear, Le Sad Man with Le Sad Gun and Le Sad Bag?
The whole game utilizes this very fall-based aesthetic, with these soft browns and yellows accenting the blue water really nicely. It makes for a nice composition, and the relatively consistent color palette actually allows for the developer to mark important things in contrasting colors. The color palette goes a long way to make the game easy to look at as well, which is good for a game where you're supposed to spend hours talking to people. Now that aside, one of the areas where Animal Crossing excels is in how dynamic its environments are.
Have you played this War of Mine? No, I haven't, but that's like the side-scrolling game, right? Where you're like managing stuff. Hang on. Let me look. Yeah, it's that one. I'll be honest. It could be great, but it looks a little bit like this game. They look a little bit similar. They look a little bit similar. I'm very sorry for your loss.
Sorry. Nearly everything in these games is interactable, with many of them having goodies in place to reward the player for exploring and trying new things. This, combined with the changing weather and day-night cycle, makes the game really feel alive. Like a little
No way you made that comparison.
town in your pocket or on your TV. The dynamic nature of Animal Crossing is something that web fishing largely lacks.
Someone said, holy cortisol spike. Like, just admitting you got tilted over that comment.
There's no day-night
How is that? Okay, yeah, I'd say ban you, but you're a mod. Shut up.
cycle or changing
Fucking saying soy laugh.
seasons, and nearly all the fish in the game are able to be caught at all times. This is something that seems like a no-brainer. Having a day-night cycle where certain fish can be caught at certain times would encourage people to stay longer and talk with people, waiting for
How is it Tism laugh? Oh, wait, record yourself laughing and then post it on the subreddit.
the right time of day to catch the fish that they need. But I don't know, like a lot of things with web fishing, this could have been one of those things that the developer was planning to have if they hadn't been digitally blackballed from ever making a video game again. There's so many pieces of web fishing that are like this, places where the game was so close to being something better, and it's clear that there was going to be more, but instead there's just a dead end and a sign saying that your IP's been stolen instead. Web fishing's UI is really good as well, with the rounded corners and modern style font making every menu.
You don't even check the subreddit? I check it most days. It's actually becoming alive again now since Fear and Hunger came out, thank God.
Really readable.
Thank you, Group General, for the Prime.
I think a lot of indie developers
Thank you, the baby, for the 4 months. You're going bold soon, buddy. Shut up.
skimp out on good UI and aesthetic design because they're so focused on making the gameplay good.
Oh, thank you, Connor, for the 6. Love the new video, and the voice actors are top notch. Yeah, I've actually not seen anyone complain about the voicing, which was really good. I think I remember in Darkwood, Russian Badger got so much shit, and everyone was like, "This is terrible. This is cringe." But like that was like miscast. I don't think he did a bad job, but that was miscasting on me. And I think like when you saw the Wolfman, you imagine this like really tall, imposing, kind of guttural sounding voice. But then he's obviously just using like his normal voice. But then again, at the same time as well, you know, like you've got games like Dispatch, and then you've got Charlie, who just like, he's just doing his normal voice. So, you know, and Jacksepticeye is just doing his normal voice. But I guess the characters are wrote around that voice. So,
And while the gameplay should
I mean, you know, in conclusion, like, I don't think it's his fault. I just have AIDS.
definitely be the priority, good UI makes interfacing with that gameplay feel snappy and easy. You don't want someone to feel like they're filing their taxes every time they level up or change their equipment. You want it to feel like something to look forward to,
Pyro.
and good UI
Smiley.
design helps a lot with that. Luckily, web fishing does a good job at making everything quick and snappy, with selling items and getting bait being as simple as clicking a single button. In fact, pretty much everything has been streamlined to be easy, which I think is an underrated part of web fishing as a whole. The menial shit like customizing your character and upgrading your fishing rod is made as fast as possible so you can get to the actual fun stuff like fishing and drawing and talking to people. I think it's about time I talk about the progression of this game. But in order to do that, I think I'll actually need to,
I was going to say, if there's no progression, like you just
Hey,
play it for
I
5
was
minutes.
curious.
get through it. So, give me like 15 minutes and I'll be right back. Alright, I did some fishing off camera, just a bit of grinding, and
So what, you just get clothes?
now my gear's a tad better, so I think I'm pretty qualified to talk about the progression if that's okay with everyone. When you first open web fishing, there's a few places you'll need to regularly return to in order to progress through the game. First, there's the quest board, which gives you goals aside from just buying and selling fish. When you do these, you get XP, which
Nice try. The name gave you away, by the way.
allows you to level up, which in turn lets you get new gear and accessories, which then let you fish even faster, and the cycle then repeats. Now, if you take a look at this cycle, you may notice something, and that's that everything in here only pertains to fishing. And you see, that's a big problem. The biggest issue with web fishing's gameplay is that it doesn't do a great job at incentivizing the player to do anything but fish, because the only other way to get money is by literally gambling for it. And while that is really funny, it also means that whenever a player gets bored of fishing, they won't have much else to do. Now, of course, half of web fishing is the web part, and people are ideally going to spend as much time talking to each other and making friends as they will straight up catching fish. But that still doesn't excuse the lack of offerings here. Other chat room games like Club Penguin offer an insane variety.
Dude, when they brought back Club Penguin, and it was like the adult one. It was so funny.
Variety of minigames that players can enjoy, which increases the replayability of the game significantly. Not to mention that these are often cooperative games, so players can do them together with their friends, adding to the social aspect of the game. This is a huge missed opportunity on Webfishing's part, since even the fishing, the core of the game, doesn't have any cooperative component baked in. It's not like there's a fishing duel minigame that I could challenge my friend to, or some special fish that I could only catch with 2 people helping me. For me, because I've basically 100% of the game, joining a server amounts to me just trying to talk to people, and if no one's talking when I join, there's really no point in me being there, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of the game. You may think I'm being too harsh. I mean, it's only a $5 Steam game, right? And he does.
Oh, okay. Well, I was totally wrong at the beginning. I started this video thinking that the game was free, so I take that back. Whoops, cancelled.
Does give you a fun experience for that price, but Webfishing gets so much else right that it genuinely frustrates me how excellent it could have been with just a few more additions and tweaks. Another example of this is the props. The props are a really well done system, with a lot of cool
You know, it's also $5. Fear and Hunger.
items
Don't check me on that. I'm guessing.
like the chalk and guitar, which have massive creative potential. Like I have seen insanely talented people draw
$5 to get your IP stolen.
some really cool stuff with the chalk, you know, as well as copious amounts of porn. And the guitar is such a dynamic item that people have found ways to play pretty much every popular song you could think of on it. These items are examples of the insane potential that this game has when it
Oh, it's $8? Close enough.
comes to interactive experiences with people. It just sucks because there's no in-game incentive for doing these things. They could have been easy, you know, just make it where the player gets money for strumming notes or drawing with the chalk. But no, there's really no reason to interact with these things if you don't like drawing or playing the guitar already. There's also a bunch of stuff that just...
I would make a joke saying, oh no, I don't have $5. I just gave it to my streamer, my favorite streamer. But then...
Pyro, why your leg is yellow? Did you got hurt or something?
Oh, I just got a bruise on it. I hit it on the leg press.
seems unfinished. Like every player can access 3 different private islands. These are entirely individual locations that could have been Webfishing's very own igloos, as they're tied to each individual player and don't cross over. Imagine if you could have your very own Tortimer Island to show people in different servers. Genuinely endless possibilities
Utopia leg.
with enough customizations, and maybe even exclusive fish you could find on each island. But in the final game, they're just empty. There's legit no reason to go here because of how flat and
Tried to look up Fear and Hunger and accidentally looked up Fear and Money. What is that?
bland the islands are. Another example is the map itself. If you've ever explored Pawprint Point, you know that it's way bigger than it initially appears. There's a ton of lakes and benches on the upper area that go completely ignored by most players. The reason for that is that there's no reason the game ever gives you to go up here. It feels like this area would be the prime spot to put some sort of minigame or interactable object or, you know, anything to make this area worthwhile. As it stands, this area will forever be empty space that can't be used for much of anything. It's like for everything this game does well, there's somewhere in the game that just seems massively unfinished. It's a game that screams unrealized potential, and it's a potential that could have been finished with just a few updates and seasonal events. But
Okay, hear me out here. Hear me out here. They add a battle royale mode. That'll save the game.
because the developer was, you know, these things will never come to fruition. And despite all of that,
I remember Miro saying that there is at least an idea for Fear and Hunger 3. Yeah, I saw that, and it was something like, I think it was Fear and Hunger 3, but the game takes place like really far into the future.
I still think that Webfishing is overall a good game. In some places, I even think it's exceptional. The social aspect of this game is top-notch, with everything integrating perfectly to encourage the players to talk to each other and collaborate. It's obvious that West's original vision for this game was for it to be a fun social space for people, and that vision is realized in the big things as well as some small quality of life stuff, like the ability to send letters to one another, or how typing certain words and emoticons makes your character expression match that message. There's an insane amount of polish and charm put into certain aspects of Webfishing, which just goes to show how passionate the
It's like how in Repo, like when you crouch, when you type stuff, it's just like the voice gets higher and lower.
developer was about it, and how much potential it had to be amazing. When I first played this game, I was enamored by the potential the game had. It was clear that there were so many different things that were begging to be polished, additions that were obvious to be coming in. The fences were something that hadn't really been captured in a game in a very long time. The fresh air. And if it were updated consistently, I think it would still have
Watch it and fence it? Yeah, exactly. I'm good.
a significant contingent of players who play the game regularly today. But as it stands, Webfishing is a shell of what it could have become, and a game that's hard to recommend to people. Like, I know this is just a silly $5 video game, right? But it genuinely makes me sad to see how the story of Webfishing turned out. However, for all the game lacks on its own, it's made up for in the influence that it's had on the indie game scene. It was a game that showed that there was a
Oh, not Atlas. Not that game.
market for small, cozy chat room hangout games. And since then, games
He just fails to address like the jiggle physics.
like Atlas, On Together, and Sledding Game have all taken the blueprint Webfishing set and built upon it, creating spaces where people
Atlas has fishing now, by the way. I'm not surprised.
are able to get together and meet other users to just hang out and play some games. There's even a spiritual successor to Webfishing in development, as a development team is currently attempting to capture that lightning
Of course he knows what Atlas is. Dude, come on, man. Like, I've talked about Tribal Hunter on stream before.
in a bottle effect another time. But while these games will flourish, Webfishing itself exists in a near empty state, bleeding players, doomed to be abandoned forever. It's a game that exists as a reminder of what can happen when an online space isn't maintained and cultivated. When a space for people to hang out is left to rot for years, it can become overgrown, filled with hackers and exploits that make it difficult for people to enjoy the game like they once did.